Before we get started, if you are wondering about that thumbnail, it was actually supposed to be just a funny picture, and I posted it to Instagram and everyone voted for that to be the thumbnail, so here it is. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Welcome to Texas Haunted Channel. God bless each and every one of you. If you're new here, please consider clicking that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn the bell icon on to get notified of every upload. So in today's video, we're going to be taking the RSX factory wiring harness out of the engine bay and putting in a Tuck harness from Jackspania Racing. Now this isn't super cheap quality or anything like that. His harnesses have definitely improved since the last one I bought. This one here is definitely really nice, and there will be information with a discount code in the description and a link to this if you guys want to pick one up. But we'll get started on all of that here in just a moment. I did a video over on my other channel, More Motorsports Garage, and made some spray can attachments and even a piece that goes here. So if you guys haven't seen that video, I will link it in the description so you guys can go check that out. If you guys want to see more content, if you're not subscribed to that channel, definitely do so. Okay, so moving back over here to Jackspania's Tuck harness, you can see that it has this little red wire here. Now, I won't be needing this wire or these auxiliary wires or anything like that. It'll be basically plug and play on this end. This is for like if you have a swap in an EM2 and probably an ES1, or even like my Mazda B2300 K-swap truck. I could have used this, it would have been fine. This wire here is to give your speedometer cluster a signal for the coolant temp. And it even explains that in the wiring and different methods for different things. Base TPS for the throttle position. The crank sensor for a K24 is different than a K20. And it'll show the wiring and all of that. So if you need to, this kit is universal between K20 and K24. So it'll actually tell you which wires need to go where and all of that stuff. So it's really cool and definitely very detailed. So if you were looking at getting a Tuck harness or even just a harness in general for your K-swap, this is definitely a good one for sure. What's really cool is that these are labeled. So this is cylinder 1 for the injectors. Now these come with the RDX injector clips here, but you can depin or whatever you want to do to get the right injector clips on, and color orientation doesn't matter. That's what even the instructions say. But also we've got these auxiliary wires right here, which is really cool because on the wiring it says they don't go to anything, but they could, and they're already tucked through the harness, so that way you don't have to run extra wiring out, which is very convenient, especially if you have like nitrous or anything else that needs a signal from the ECU. That is really cool. So we're going to look through this a little bit more, and you can see that it has ground wires, which obviously are important. Now this one doesn't have the charge harness. I believe it doesn't have the charge harness on this one because the way my battery's tucked behind my front bumper in the battery relocation kit, I won't need all that, but he does sell them with charge harnesses as well. So these instructions are very thorough. So when you get them, they will have tons of information for injectors, the C101 wires, the ones that are sticking out. And we've got, power wires. It tells all of that information, and the ground wires and auxiliary wires, all that stuff. So definitely a very detailed kit. Huge shout out to Jackspania. This stuff is definitely getting better. The last wiring harness I bought from him, his diagram wasn't right, so I made him a better one, and now all of this stuff has changed. Like, I didn't have to remake a diagram. He has definitely upped his game since I very first bought one. That was his old quality, and even his old stuff worked really well, but this newer stuff is definitely a higher quality than his old stuff. So if you guys ever bought something from Jackspania and didn't have a good experience with it, definitely give them another shot. Max Speeding Rods has also been doing that too. They've been upping their game. But Jackspania is definitely upping his game. He's still on the budget side of things, but he's also not cheap, if that makes sense. So there are some things that are really inexpensive on his website, but have a really nice quality. And then there's other things that are a little more expensive, but the quality shows for it. So definitely want to give him a chance if you haven't before. And use the discount code, save you guys some money. So I'm going to go over to the car. And over here at the car, I'm basically just going to undo the factory wiring harness, get everything disconnected. I'll speed it up, time elapse, and add some music, and then we'll go over some more. Now I will be taking this intake manifold off. I have access down there just a little bit easier with it out of the way. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to it. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, now that we've got the wiring harness removed, I wanted to show you right here the alternator power wire, the starter power wire. Those run together into the fuse box, and then we've got a wire from there that runs to the battery. So that is separate from the harness now. I separated the knock sensor, the starter signal wire, and the alternator plug wire. So those are all with the Type S harness that is going to a buddy of mine. So when we put jackspanias in, it'll basically just plug in right there, right here, and under there is done. It's pretty simple on that. The AC stuff is on a separate harness, so I don't have to worry about that on this particular setup. And then we've got all the wires that connect through there. It's pretty simple. Don't forget the VTC, I believe, solenoid. It's a solenoid right here. And then the crank sensor, and then on the back we've got VTEC in oil pressure and solenoid for VTEC. Then we got cam positions, coolant temp is down there, and then we've got stuff for the transmission. So it's actually really not too hard to do, but with the intake manifold removed, you can see what I was talking about in here. That's why I wanted to remove it. It also makes it a little easier to get in here, and it's not too hard to remove. But yeah, let's go look at the harness. Okay, so here's jackspania's wire tuck harness. Then we've got the OEM harness right here. As you can see, it's a lot bulkier and it doesn't tuck away very easy. And yeah, so this is definitely going to clean up the bay a little bit and look a lot cleaner. And I just really love how everything is labeled. So I don't even need to show you guys how to install it. Everything's pretty much labeled already as to how. TPS, throttle position sensor, VTEC switch. Yeah, it's just all labeled. So it's really, really cool. But I'm going to go ahead and get this one installed. We'll fire it up, see how she runs. All right, got all the wiring ran. It's looking really good. I went ahead and undid this 12mm nut here, moved this water pipe a little bit, and was able to route stuff behind it. These are the injector wires. And then we've got map sensor, air idle control valve, air intake temp, and all that right here. And I ran it underneath the water pipe that's back here. And got the wire ran to the shift selector and the reverse lights and all that under there. Grounded it right there, made sure there's bare exposed metal. And then back there, I ended up getting the factory rubber piece and electrical taping around it to where it's a nice waterproof little seal. And now that is hooked back up. So, looks real good. Now I can put the intake manifold back on, get the injector clips ran to the proper injectors, and then should be able to test fire it. So, hope you guys are enjoying. All right, so I just did a test fire and it fired right up, and I tried to get you the first video, but my audio wasn't working. So I'll do it again so you guys can see. So I need to go ahead and get all that secured and get the mess out there cleaned up, and we'll go over some more. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. Well, there it is. Praise God that it fired up on the first try. The only issue I had was the audio. It wasn't working. But on the second attempt, it fired right up too. Took it down the road, made sure speedometer worked, tach, temp gauge, all of that stuff. No check engine codes, and did a little pool. As you could hear, VTEC engaged, and I wanted to make sure that it was working. So it wasn't like a fantastic pull or anything, just wanted to make sure it was functioning how it's supposed to. It overall wasn't too terribly hard to do. If you struggle taking an intake manifold off, then it might be hard for you. But if you can get an intake manifold off pretty simple, then it's not going to be a very hard task. Just got to tuck it out of the way and all of that stuff, and it looks really good in there. And I was able to scoot the yellow pieces, like you can see right there. The yellow pieces, you can actually scoot them down to kind of tuck them out of the way more. And I really liked how this harness says these right here. One of them says EXT for exhaust, and the other one says INT for intake. So that way you can't screw up which connector goes where. The intake one will be on this side, and the exhaust sensor will be on that side. So that was really nice. I really like how they were labeled, and everything looks pretty sturdy. It doesn't look weak, and the connectors are pretty strong. And everything was just plug and play for the RSX. It's supposed to be the same way for the EP3 as well. Now, if you have this in a K-swap vehicle, like an EM2, an ES1, an EG, an EK, whatever it may be, this setup has the external parts. So you can have the fan switch, and you have a coolant temperature switch, and it has that stuff already ran to the C101 connector, so that way you can put it on your dash. So it's very nice kit. And save you guys some money if you buy this kit using that discount code. Information's in the description with a link to this one and the rear wheel drive wiring harness, which if you are going to try to do a rear wheel drive wire tuck with this harness, it won't work very well because it exits on this side. And if you guys remember the K-swap Mazda truck, this is how the engine sat. So it would have to go across the exhaust and then that way. So whenever you have the OEM harness, it actually worked well, but his tuck harness for the rear wheel drive setups, I highly recommend that. If it's anything like this one, which I assume it is, just exits that way instead of this way, then it'll be great. But the quality of this thing is really nice, and the only thing I had to do was swap the injector clips because I didn't have RDX injectors. I have 1000cc fuel injector clinic injectors. But yeah, very nice quality for sure. Jackspania is really stepping up his game a lot lately. So his price is increasing on certain things, but the quality is increasing tenfold. So it's definitely worth its weight in gold. So yeah, I got stock injector clips back on the OEM harness. And before anyone messages me, this is already claimed. A friend of the channel and a subscriber, Daniel, he's actually going to be getting this for his K-swap EM2 that he's trying to build. So if God is willing, that'll be on the channel someday, and we can put that on his setup. And yeah, so I am just super thankful. Everything went so smooth on this, and we have the AC tuck. If you guys were wondering, the AC line will be tucked. I actually have that right here in this box from Jackspania Racing. So that'll be another video in the future, so please stay tuned. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't, and turn the bell icon on to get notified of every upload. That way, when I do upload, it's at random hours, so there's no consistency there. Sorry about that. That's just how my life goes. But yeah, when I upload, you'll get notified, and then you can watch that video as well. But if you guys like the video, please click the like button. It helps the algorithm recommend me to more people, so more people can see the content. We can share the love of God with them while working on cars. But that's basically it for this one. I will see you guys in the next video if God is willing. So as I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.